And now we're delighted to welcome to the programme Neil Maguire, team leader, Clann Mór House, and 3 of the residents of Clann Mór House. So thanks very much for coming on the programme.
No problem, thank you.
So maybe you could start by giving us a basic idea of what Clann Mór House is and what you do and so on.
Yeah, well, Clann Mór is a service based in County Meath, so it's a residential service supporting people with intellectual disabilities, mild to moderate intellectual disabilities. We'd have most of our centres will be based in Navan. We also have a house in Ashbourne and 3 houses in Kells as well. So we have kind of selection of the residents here from several of our houses to here for a chat today. Clann Mór would support residents to live in the community independently and kind of would support them around kind of daily living and transport to and from day services, any kind of appointments and that. But they would generally, our ethos would be very much that the residents kind of lead the way and we're just there to support them rather than kind of a care service and such. There'd be very independent residents we'd work with.
Right. So it had kind of humble beginnings, didn't it? Was it just a support group set up?
Yeah, so it started out kind of in the early 80s, more of a kind of a service around. The first house would have been that Respite house, which is up in Navan on the Commons Road, and that is still there now. But some of the residents we have would have lived there for a long time. I know Margaret would have lived there for many years, and then as time going on, we kind of branched out into residential homes within the community, where sort of, I suppose, smaller groups of residents would live together in the community. Generally, most of our houses would have between 3 and 4 residents living there.
It's all live-in, is it?
Yeah, well, the residents would live in houses within the community, and staff would kind of come to house to support at various different levels of support. Some houses maybe would have people come in for a few hours, and then other houses would have staff that would sleep over in the house. Yeah.
Right. So maybe Margaret or David or Lynn would like to join and tell us what it's like living in the...
David, you want to go first?
Well, it is a very good, nice area where I live, and I do get on well with the clients that I get on with, and it is a good area where I live, and the place where I support is an area called Ashbourne, and the area is called Lescara House, and the people I get on with is very nice as well, and I am living there a good while in the house, and it's a place that has lovely areas around it.
Right.
And I am with the facility of people a good while, and they do all good, nice things there with us all, and I do be happy with living with them all there, and we are all very good clients with each other.
What kind of things do you get up to?
Well, generally we go out to different places around and that, and we have nice areas, like we're close to areas.
Very good.
Yeah.
And would you join in like community events in the local area? Would you join in those? Yeah.
Yes, we have nice areas, events, like there's areas like we have our libraries and that near us, and our cinemas like beside us.
Right. And would you have people going into the house like teaching or show?
Yeah, we
like
would
that,
have people attending us to do things with us as well.
Right.
Different staff at different times.
Right. Margaret, or maybe you'd like to tell us what...
I live in Clann Mór now a long time, and I like it. I live with a special person, and it's Anne-Marie Murray. She's an artist, and Andrew McAvoy, and I love living there. And I joined the Arch Club too, and I love the Arch Club. And I'm playing bowling now in a while, the Arch Club.
Right. And, Lynn? Huh?
I live in a house in a house called Cherry Hill, 1A. I live with a girl with on oxygen, and another girl that's in a wheelchair. Yeah, took me a while to set in, but because I lived with my parents, and it took me a while, but I love it. Yeah, and I go to a day service called Prosper Meath, Farrell Street, and I love that too. We go swimming, we do tennis dinner, we do self-defence, we do cooking course. Our day service is independence, like.
So yeah, you do self-defence, and we have to stay away from you, do we?
Yeah.
Right. Neil, there's a vision, a particular vision you have, don't you? An overall vision.
I suppose in Clann Mór, we kind of see ourselves as being a bit distinctive from a care service, in that we be much more promoting independence of our individuals. So we kind of, the majority of our staff would be what we call community-based support staff. So there'll be a bit of a distinction there between a traditional kind of care assistant and our support staffs, whereas our staff will be there kind of to encourage independence, but also I kind of describe it as almost like a scaffolding system, where you're there just to support them and let them kind of try things out and use positive risk taking, and kind of be there to support them if they fail, and to teach them that it's okay, that things don't always go. You're not as kind of protecting them and bubble wrapping them in a sense, and you're kind of allowing them to experience life in the real world and being there to support them if things don't go so well, and also just to encourage them to achieve things independently themselves, as opposed to kind of, following them around cleaning and cooking and taking care of their personal needs. The residents we have are very independent, and we encourage them to be so. Yeah.
Right. So independent living, like that's our
exactly,
idea here as well. Yeah. Would there be any such thing as a typical day? I would say I would vary a lot.
Well, typical day, as I said, like, we're kind of led by our residents. So a typical day would be whatever particular resident in the house has on. Like, I know Margaret, for example, has recently joined the Irish Country Women's Association. So there's lots of things they do in the community. But I suppose an average day that the residents would get up and go to various different day services around the area. They wouldn't all be in the same day service, and they'd be ones that kind of would have their own community involvement in that. The residents then usually would come home then about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then our support staff would kind of come in then to support them just around kind of their day-to-day things, like preparing dinner, and kind of if there's any evening activities that they go to, we kind of, our staff would support them with transport and just kind of that. Again, there'd be some ad hoc things maybe on the different days that people would be going to other things in the evenings, maybe to like going out for activities or concerts or stuff like that, or shows and that. And then we kind of we'd be very flexible with staffing around that as well. Kind of, again, it's basically all around person-centred planning, and whatever the residents are doing, we kind of support as much as we can, rather than us dictating how their days go.
Right. Or things like cooking, cleaning, handyman stuff, is that all done for them?
No, our residents would be very independent, as I said, and kind of, we'd have in the houses, we'd have resident meetings and that, and where they decide kind of on how to divide up chores and that kind of thing. Right. So we'd have, say, menu planners and that, where we'd have a different resident would be cooking each day, and kind of they'd have support from staff where needed. And then some residents wouldn't need as much support, but our level of support would fluctuate from residents to another, depending on their level of need. Yeah.
So that's what independent living's all about.
Yeah.
So would there be meetings every so often in each house, like making plans of the future?
The residents would have a meeting every 3 weeks in the house. Right. At that, they kind of would bring any issues that they have, but it's more, it wouldn't be as much issues, it'd be more kind of planning and that kind of stuff. So if they had any kind of activities that they wanted to do, they could bring it up there. I know last year the residents from various houses went to different holidays as well, so all the planning would be done with that. We also have an advocacy group in Clann Mór that residents attend, and that's done quarterly. So at that then that there would be kind of plans made around that for kind of more bigger activities than that. I know a few of our residents did attend a conference down in Carlow, Margaret, was it? Yeah, for assisted decision making.
Right.
So things like that would come from the advocacy group as well.
Right. Margaret, maybe you'd like to tell us about that meeting, if you can remember.
I enjoyed the meeting. They were on about different things, and we got free bottles and keyrings and pens coming up.
That's what it's all about.
I enjoyed the day. It was good. So it was. Went on for a good few hours, and one of the staff in Clann Mór was working there, and we were talking to her. And we got food and everything, so we did, and I enjoyed the day. It was
Did
good.
you learn anything?
I did.
Good.
Learned a few things, I've done a lot of listening and the whole lot, and I enjoyed it, so
Good.
I did,
So have you, David, attended meetings like that sometimes, yeah?
Yeah, I have attended some meetings like that and other things like that, and sometimes I do think things like thoughts that come through my mind, and I have met Micheál Martin as well,
Right.
in Waterford.
You mean Meath Martin met you?
Taoiseach. Taoiseach. And sometimes I do think the same thoughts as he does before he even speaks them.
Right.
And somebody said to me once, I should be Taoiseach.
Brilliant.
And I did say it to him once when I did meet him. I met him actually in a county called Waterford.
Yeah.
And I was down there, and I said to him, I follow me, and I was in a hotel, and I did shake hands with him, and I had photographs with him and all that, and I did say them words to him. I said, anything I have thought in my mind before you, I have it spoke out before you. So I did. That's what I said to the man when I spoke to him. So they say really in my name, David, is Jesus is the King of Davids.
Yeah.
That's what they say in the Bible.
Yeah.
So he's watching over you here now. That's what I'm here down here, watching over you.
You're watching over all of us.
Yes, that's what they say in the Bible.
And what about you, Lynn? Have you gone to some of these meetings?
Yeah, I have been to the Clann Mór one.
The advocacy group or the
The advocacy group. Yeah.
Right. And how important would advocacy be in the whole?
So it'd be kind of about speaking up about your own rights.
Yeah, speaking about your own rights. Yeah, and I'm very good at that.
We believe you.
Yeah. Because it's important, isn't it, to keep speaking up about all these
speaking.
issues? Yeah,
If you don't use a voice, your voice wouldn't be heard.
Yeah.
that's exactly it. Yeah, yeah.
Lynn has also been involved in a group that are developing a compatibility risk assessments around kind of people moving into new houses and kind of around their choices and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
do you want to let us know what that's about, Lynn, or anything that you do with Ronan?
I don't really know.
No, okay.
No.
Maybe you could speak to that, Neil.
Yeah, so basically it's a kind of a working group that's involved with the HSE around kind of developing a new tool for compatibility risk assessments for maybe a new referral coming into a service, and around kind of involving the residents in where they want to live and choices around where they'd like to live, and also the people who are already living in a particular house and around their choice about who moves in with them and about compatibility. So the idea is that you don't run into problems further on down the line with issues around people living together and compatibility. And again, with ourselves, if we were moving into a rented accommodation, we have a choice around who we live with, and it should be the same for these guys as well.
Of course.
So what would be the process if somebody new is proposed for a house? He or she would obviously meet the other residents beforehand and all that, yeah?
Well, we'd probably get kind of referral information from another service if there was someone transferring in, and then say one of the team leaders and our service manager would kind of sift through that information and kind of we'd look at what risks would be involved in that person moving into that service, and then we would speak with the residents who were already there, looking for their preference in somebody who would move in, and would they have any preferences that way. And then also with the potential new referral to come in, we'd be looking at kind of their own preferences around whether they'd like to live in a town environment or in the countryside, who they'd like to live with, what kind of level of support they would like and what they need. And then again we'd look at what we call an assessment of need would be carried out to see what level of support they would need from staff, say.
Right. What about funding? It's obviously not running all these services obviously isn't cheap, so
so we would be what we call a Section 39 agency, so we'd be funded by the HSE, and then kind of in terms of referrals and that kind of stuff, that would come from the disability team, and then we, I suppose, would be funded partially from the HSE, and then we'd also do a lot of fundraising throughout the year. So we'd have kind of say things like the mini marathon, or we'd have kind of church cake collections, and then also some members of staff have done parachute jumps in the previous year and various different fundraising events as well.
Right. Parachute jumping, that sounds not something I'd be inclined to do myself, I must say.
Could be the end of us.
Could be, yeah. Safeguarding, and that's a hugely important issue these days, isn't it?
It is, and I suppose that's where all staff would receive training in kind of safeguarding, in kind of recognising signs of abuse, and also kind of what to do from a legal framework in terms of safeguarding concerns. So there would be any issues around safeguarding would be reported to the team leaders, and then a kind of preliminary screening would be submitted through then to the HSC, and then safeguarding plans will be put in place around that. But it's really important as well in our services to make sure that people feel safe in their homes, and we do all we can to support that.
Yeah. And you're affiliated with some other groups and organisations, aren't you? Yeah.
In what way?
I think it said on the website that you were affiliated to some other bodies. Yeah.
Well, Clann Mór would be independent in that sense, but we would work in conjunction with we would have very good relationships with the day services that the guys are in, and other kind of organisations around the Navan area. In terms of, I know a lot of our residents would be involved in things like the Arch Club, which is a voluntary organisation that in around Navan for people with intellectual disabilities. So they would go on holidays together. They'd have kind of sporting events throughout the week, and then they would also be involved with the Special Olympics groups as well.
Right. Oh, what sporting activities? Are any of the three of you involved in any kind of sporting activities?
Bowling.
Margaret does the bowling, don't you?
I do bowling, yeah.
Oh, bowling, yeah.
Playing for medals now in a few weeks with Tony Brady and Fiona Newman in the Navan Arch Club. Yeah.
You're getting a medal?
Yeah. I have some at home in my room too.
Oh,
I love them. Yeah. And I love the Arch Club, it's great. I look forward to going. We go on a Thursday night.
Very good.
From 7 o'clock to 9:30, and it's great. I love it.
And it's full on.
Bit of fun too, yeah.
Good.
And the bus comes and collects me Deirdre and all. So I enjoy it. It's good. Yeah.
And what about David and Lynn? Are you involved in any sports?
Yeah, I do. Every Monday in my day service I do tennis.
Right.
And on Friday I do swimming. I'm only starting the swimming. I love swimming.
Yeah, that's a
Good for you.
great.
It's a great hobby to have.
It
Oh
is,
yeah. Great every way.
And what about you, David?
Really, I just do exercises in our service in mornings, which is a chair exercise.
Oh,
we
yes,
do,
yes.
and that's generally what I do daily, and I only attend it 3 days a week.
Very good.
And
It's good for you, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on Wednesdays today now, we would just attend a library up here in Ashburn, you know, and they do go to they see films on, and we would meet different socialised people in the people of the area, and there could be, you know, people that do know us in my area as well, as they call it, socialisation of different people.
Very good.
You know, and we all get on well with them, and there can be a bit of teasing and going on with the ladies as they're from my area of Ashburn, because I can, you know, walk up and meet the group as well, you know.
Right, so you've 10 houses at the moment, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, we've 10 houses. We've 9 residential houses, and we also have a respite house as well. So in the respite house, there kind of would be different people in every week. People would come in for maybe 2 or 3 days, or they could come up for 5 days and that. And it's kind of people who aren't in residential service. They'd be kind of living at home with families or that. So it's to kind of give them a little kind of home away from home and a kind of little holiday for a few days. So, but then the other houses, we'd have 5 houses in Navan. There's 1 in Ashburn, and there's 3 up in Kells. 2 of the houses in Kells opened in 2023, so they be our 2 newest houses as well.
Right. And have you any plans going forward?
Not that I know of. There's no plans for any houses open at the moment. We've kind of, the 2 houses in Kells opened up last year, so we're kind of just getting consolidating what we have at the moment before any plans now. Not that I know of anyway, of any plans for expansion, but yeah.
Have you a wait list?
What, pardon?
Have you a waiting list?
Yeah, well, again, that would kind of come through the adult disability team, yeah.
Right, I think we're kind of coming to the end. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add before?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
You know about the sports that you said.
Yeah.
I do horse riding as well.
Oh, right, very good.
In Navan, so
that's great. Yeah.
Margaret, that's like.
I'd like to thank the lads here for taking time to video us. These are all very good, and I hope to hear from you again. Thanks very much.
Here.
It is.
Thanks very much.
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks very much to Neil, team leader, Lynn, David, and Margaret for coming on the programme. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.